shouldn't pollute. We should use the technology we got. We should use media. You ever heard of what's called climate gate? I was shown that IPCC was fraudulating all the reports about climate change. The fact that Al Gore even supports climate change. CO2 you exhale it, right? Plants breathe it in and then they exchange it and they give you oxygen, right? Why is the media telling you that carbon dioxide is toxic? The problem is, I've watched so much material, I've studied it, I've spoken to people like who are in the industry. Really all this is like the whole climate change.
Yeah.
How do you get next week? I think she was here last week.
Wow, we're here. All the reports about climate change. The fact that Al Gore
Do you really need to get the latest?
And then Danny just told me something right now about
Free DVDs and flyers. Danny was doing some research about 9/11, the 8th and 9th of September. All the buildings were shut down for maintenance, right? For the cable, for the computer upgrading. So I think they were wiring everything to World Trade Center 7. And I believe that's where the whole operation was being held, in Building 7. Because you can't bring down a building like that through normal procedures. You have to use nanothermite technology with regular explosive technology. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. A lot of good stuff out here today. Free DVDs and flyers.
All right, this one's gonna be intense. I watched a film recently this week called The KINSEY Syndrome. It's a Chris Pinto, it's American History Films, and it talks about something I never heard about before, a man named Alfred Kinsey. And he is the father of essentially the sexual revolution in the 60s and 70s, and then he's also the father of sex education in school, and it was his research that led to our pedophilia laws. Even though he's in the United States, it affected the whole world. And he's considered the premier psychologist and scientist of childhood sexuality. So, that being said, Alfred Kinsey, as well as being a scientist, he was also an avid pedophile. And if you want a full detail of everything he did, you should watch the film, The Kinsey Syndrome. But I have a few things here. So first of all, we'll just start off with his real philosophy, and that's in this quote that says, the only unnatural sex act is that which you cannot perform. Here we have a chart, and this is one of the charts published in 1948 in his Kinsey report, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. And you have here the age of the subjects. So let's take, say this 4-year-old, this would be a boy, 4-year-old boy. And it says he's had 26 orgasms in 24 hours. And the chart continues up and up. You have as early as 5 months, and on the female report, I believe as early as 4 months. And the report cites oral and manual stimulation. He recruited pedophiles to do this research. So what he would do is he would tell pedophiles either who he knew personally or who contacted him, and they would use a stopwatch and time to see how many orgasms the child had while they were raping them. And none of the people who participated in the study, none of the pedophiles were ever arrested, charged, or anything, never investigated. It also resulted in the sex laws being changed from, long sentences for pedophiles to 2 years house arrest, 2 years probation. So that's you ever wonder why there's so many pedophiles on the streets, and you always hear all these shows, Dr. Phil and all this stuff, they're talking about all these pedophiles. That's why, because of this guy, that's why all those pedophiles are walking around. Because he argued that it was natural. He also argued that having relations with your own child was beneficial for them both emotionally and psychologically. So to summarize how insane this man is, Alfred Kinsey dies as a result of a sexual act. This act involved tying his testicles to the ceiling and then jumping off an elevated area and essentially just like destroying his organs. And eventually that's what killed him. What's worse is the influence he had on culture, the sexual revolution. Two of his greatest disciples, his apprentices in philosophy, I suppose you could say, were Mr. Hay, I forgot his last name, Harry Hay, founder of the Manichae Society, which is the first national gay rights society in America. Then you've got Clarence Tripp, who videotaped a lot of what Kinsey did, a lot of his sexual exploits with children. Hugh Hefner, who also was accused of pedophilia by some of his staff at the Playboy Mansion, and Hefner loves Kinsey. He says so in a few interviews, actually. He also heavily influenced the founder of NAMBLA. Now, if you don't know what NAMBLA is the North American Man-Boy Love Association. It's essentially a pedophilic group and who are dead serious about having sex with underage boys. And in the Kinsey Syndrome, they actually follow one of these guys around, and he is creepy to say the least. And he is going around hitting on little boys, talking about, oh, he wants it. It's pretty disgusting. That's Kinsey, and if you don't believe me, go look it up. He's hailed as a hero by mainstream history, by mainstream society, but he's a freak. The Kinsey Syndrome. It's a great film. Go watch it.
Did this building blow up? Okay, that's a blow job. Listen there. That's the association you come from.
On a clear day.
On a clear day. Do you know that the government's now putting mind-reading chips in cell phones? And that they transmit your brainwaves via satellites to secret giant computer banks in Virginia? And hey, where's my food? Did you eat it? You evil hound. Oh, sorry. I just figured with you yapping this much, you couldn't possibly be hungry.
Look how I found this in the newspaper yesterday. So I was reading it down, and I came across that one. Notice how they bury the truth inside a comic just to make it look like it's all innocent fun. Then they completely divert what they're talking about in the next two slides there. And so that's basically, not call it bait and switch, but what they call the tactic when they set up in a way that makes it almost look fictional, makes it look comical, but it's the truth. But they do in such a way that it diverts what they're putting in plain view, but saying, oh, it's just a joke. You know, and it's in a comic format. It's in a comic form. They say, oh, we have it out there, right? We have it out there. We just did it in such a way that you won't notice. They hide it in plain view. People look at it, oh, it's a comic book form. I'll just take it as a parody. So that's what the Toronto Sun was doing. And when I read this, I go, wow. I have to reread it again just to verify what I was reading.
Deadly contrast. Did you see there was a American news that did a segment called Deadly Contrails?
Simply exhaust coming from these jet planes, mostly water. But what some conspiracy theorists believe is that those trails are actually chemical trails purposely filled with deadly toxins.